Let's jump right into today's explainer. We're unpacking a massive digital phenomenon that's honestly taking over our screens, our mailboxes, and let's face it, our wallets. We are talking about Temu's 99 cents empire. Look, if you've glanced at your phone at all in the past year, you've definitely been bombarded by this endless parade of just astonishingly cheap products, right? We're talking smartwatches for a few bucks, kitchen gadgets for literal pennies, and clothes priced lower than your morning coffee. So today we're going to break down exactly how this ultra cheap e-commerce ecosystem actually operates, the brilliant psychology baked into its interface, and most importantly, the real-world implications when a global supply chain is completely optimized for absolute rock-bottom prices. Okay, let's start with a number we all absolutely love, 99 cents. I mean, it's the ultimate consumer win. You see a price tag of 99 cents, and your brain just immediately registers it as practically free. It hooks us right in. But, it's not just the price point itself, it's the whole experience built around it. Opening up these apps, it's a completely glossy, fast-paced, and heavily gamified shopping experience. You've got countdown timers, roulette wheels you can spin for extra coupons, flashing notifications screaming that only 3 items are left, and those constant little pop-ups showing that someone in another country just bought the exact same thing. It is literally designed to trigger a dopamine hit with every single swipe. It turns the boring, mundane task of buying, say, a pair of socks into a Vegas-style arcade game where the prize is always this massive discount. But to truly understand the engine powering this arcade, we really need to zoom out a bit. Which brings us to Section 1, the 99 cent empire, and its unbelievable scale. When we say empire here, we're not just talking about a highly successful company. We're talking about a massive, sprawling ecosystem of ultra-cheap e-commerce that completely dominates the surface-level consumer experience. Honestly, it's a supply chain miracle operating on a global scale that we've just never seen before. Millions of packages are being shipped directly from factory floors halfway across the world straight to your front doorstep in a matter of days. It completely bypasses traditional retail. There are no brick-and-mortar stores, no domestic warehouses sitting on aging inventory, absolutely no middlemen taking their cut. It is just a direct pipeline from a manufacturing hub directly to a consumer who, well, probably just won a digital spin-the-wheel game. That glossy exterior is perfectly designed to make you feel like you've somehow hacked the system, snagging factory-direct prices without ever leaving your couch. Now, let's move right into Section 2, the illusion of cheapness and what exactly lies beneath all that gloss. This brings us to a really crucial question. Think about it. If you're buying wireless earbuds for $2 with free global shipping, how does this massive system actually stay so cheap? On the surface, the math just doesn't seem to add up. You've got manufacturing materials, labor, international freight, local postal delivery, marketing, plus the platform costs. How on earth can all of that be covered by 99 cents? Well, the short answer is, it often isn't. Many of these initial transactions are heavily subsidized loss leaders. They are designed entirely to acquire you as a user, get that app onto your phone, and harvest your data. But beyond those corporate subsidies, there are physical, structural realities that make this kind of pricing possible, and they absolutely rely on squeezing maximum efficiency out of every single tiny node in the global supply chain. So looking at this, we really see the core tension of the entire model. On one hand, you have the promise, right? The $0.99 consumer win. Getting that package in the mail feels like an absolute steal. You feel victorious. But on the flip side, there's the systemic loss. This is where we see the unseen trade-offs. To deliver that immediate win to you, immense pressure gets pushed all the way up the supply chain. Factories are squeezed to produce goods at razor-thin, almost non-existent margins. Quality control is frequently completely bypassed, just to save a few pennies. Environmental standards? Those take a back seat to speed and volume. The cheapness we see isn't magic. Actually, it's really just a reallocation of costs. The financial burden is essentially shifted away from our wallets as consumers and placed squarely onto the manufacturing ecosystem, the logistics networks, and ultimately our environment. Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the true cost. Let's look at that submerged reality. So this hidden burden really comes down to 3 main factors. First up, we have structural costs. This unbelievable volume relies heavily on international postal loopholes. You've probably heard of the de minimis exception, that essentially subsidizes shipping from overseas. What that means in plain English is that domestic taxpayers and postal services are very often indirectly footing the bill for all those free shipping offers. Crazy, right? Second, the economic toll. We are talking about a massive physical footprint here. There is a huge surge in ultra-fast, disposable goods that often end up in landfills mere weeks after you buy them, simply because they were practically disposable by design.
Plus, it creates a deeply uneven playing field for domestic retailers who literally cannot compete with those subsidized factory direct prices. And finally, there's the hidden mechanisms of viral trends. The algorithm driving these apps is incredibly aggressive. It spots microtrends on social media, instantly signals factories to churn out cheap knockoffs, and then pushes them right back into your feed within days. It's this hyper-accelerated cycle of consumption, fully engineered to keep you buying things you didn't even know you wanted 10 minutes ago.
And that brings us to the end of our explainer today. I really want to leave you with a thought about the hidden mechanisms behind our own consumption habits. Look, it is absolutely thrilling to get a bargain. There is zero denying the genius of the engineering and logistics that make this 99-cent empire possible in the first place. But the true price of the things we buy is almost never captured by the price tag alone. When a product travels halfway around the entire world to land in your hands for less than $1, those margins have to come from somewhere. They come from squeezed labor, immense environmental strain, and a disposable culture fueled by algorithmic gamification. So the very next time you open up one of those glossy apps, spin a digital wheel, and drop a 99-cent item into your cart, I want you to ask yourself, if you are only paying 99 cents, who is paying the rest? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.